Few figures in British folklore blur the line between urban panic and theatrical mischief, quite like Spring-Heeled Jack. Emerging in early Victorian England, Spring-Heeled Jack was described as a leaping, flame-breathing figure who terrorized neighborhoods, yet no confirmed identity or physical evidence ever substantiated his existence. Rather than a literal supernatural being, the history of Spring-Heeled Jack is best understood as a layered urban legend shaped by social anxiety, media sensationalism, and copycat behavior. The earliest reports appeared in 1837 to 1838 in the outskirts of London, particularly in suburban districts like Clapham and Limehouse. Victorian London was rapidly expanding. Industrialization had transformed neighborhoods, gas streetlights were still inconsistent, and poorly lit roads made nighttime travel dangerous. Assaults, gangs, and roughs were common. Fear traveled easily in rumor. In late 1837, reports began circulating of a strange attacker who leapt over high walls with unnatural agility, wore a tight-fitting outfit resembling oilskin or white clothing, had glowing eyes, emitted blue or white flames from his mouth, raked victims with claw-like hands. Most victims were women traveling alone at night. The attacker reportedly startled, scratched, or briefly assaulted them before escaping. In January 1838, the legend escalated after several alleged encounters. One of the most cited cases involved a young woman named Jane Alsop, who claimed that a man posing as a police officer asked her to bring a light to the gate. When she did, she described a terrifying figure with large and terrible eyes, who breathed blue flame before attacking her. Another woman, Lucy Scales, reported a similar encounter days later. Newspapers amplified the story. The name Spring-Heeled Jack appeared as reports emphasized his extraordinary jumping ability, said to clear walls 9 feet high in a single bound. Soon, public hysteria grew intense enough that even the Lord Mayor of London addressed the issue publicly. Suspicion quickly turned toward aristocratic pranksters. One frequently accused individual, though never proven, was Henry de la Poer Beresford, a young Anglo-Irish nobleman known for reckless and violent practical jokes. The third Marquis of Waterford had a reputation for drunken misbehavior, vandalism, and harassment. Some historians speculate that early Spring-Heeled Jack sightings may have been exaggerated versions of aristocratic thrill-seeking. However, there is no direct evidence linking him definitively to the attacks. Some sightings occurred long after his alleged involvement. The geographic spread widened beyond what one man could realistically maintain. By the 1840s, Spring-Heeled Jack had evolved from alleged attacker to serialized villain in cheap fiction, known as penny dreadfuls. In these stories, he became less prankster and more supernatural anti-hero, sometimes even portrayed as a demon or immortal being. Victorian readers devoured sensational crime fiction. Once the character entered popular print, copycat reports multiplied. The line between fact and fiction blurred rapidly. Reports continued sporadically for decades. Sightings were claimed in cities including Sheffield, Liverpool, Aldershot. Descriptions evolved. Some accounts described metallic helmets, bat-like wings, devilish features, fire-spitting abilities. In 1877, soldiers in Aldershot claimed to have fired upon a leaping figure who mocked them and escaped. The longevity of sightings, spanning nearly 40 years, suggests either a sustained myth cycle or multiple unrelated incidents being grouped under one name. Victorian England was a period of urban overcrowding, class tension, anxiety about crime. Rapid technological change, fascination with the supernatural gas lighting created eerie nighttime shadows. Mechanical inventions and early spring-loaded devices were emerging. Tight-fitting rubberized garments, a novelty at the time, could have looked bizarre in dim light. The idea of a man using spring mechanisms in boots to leap unusually high has been proposed, though no physical prototype was ever recovered. Importantly, moral panic often attaches to female-targeted assaults. A masked attacker with theatrical flair fits both criminal mischief and urban myth formation. Across 4 decades, no confirmed arrest tied conclusively to the persona, no verified mechanical apparatus, no photographs. Early photography existed by mid-century. No forensic confirmation. Descriptions varied widely, a hallmark of folklore rather than a single perpetrator. By the late 19th century, Spring-Heeled Jack transitioned fully from alleged criminal to fictional icon. He influenced later horror archetypes, masked vigilantes, gothic villains, caped figures leaping across rooftops. Some literary historians argue that the character helped inspire later pulp figures and even early superhero concepts. The most plausible historical interpretation combines several elements. Early assaults or pranks likely occurred in 1837 to 1838. Media sensationalism exaggerated physical abilities. Aristocratic thrill-seekers or local hooligans may have imitated the persona. Penny dreadful fiction cemented the image. Later unrelated incidents were absorbed into the myth. Rather than one supernatural entity haunting England for decades, Spring-Heeled Jack was likely a mixture of prankster attacks, urban hysteria, copycats, fiction feeding reality. Unlike many cryptids, Spring-Heeled Jack was born in a modern city during the newspaper age. His legend can be traced almost week by week as it unfolded in print. He represents fear of the unknown in rapidly modernizing cities, anxiety about class and anonymity, the power of media to magnify rumor, the birth of modern urban legend culture.